There is a new book prize in town, and it offers the highest cash prize of any other book award. I'm talking about $150,000, and 5 shortlisted authors are in the running for it. Today, I'm going to tell you about the prize, give you honest reviews of the shortlisted books, and tell you which nominee is my pick to win. Hello, Bookworm. My name is Hannah Greendale, and I am so excited to tell you about my new favorite book prize to follow. I'm talking about the Carol Shields Prize, which celebrates excellence in fiction, including short fiction, by women and non-binary writers in the US and Canada. This year's longlist is 15 enticing books, some of which appeared in Booktuber wishlist videos for the UK Women's Prize. Not only will the prize winner take home $150,000, but the 4 finalists will be awarded $12,500. The winner will be announced on May 13th. Before I kick off the reviews, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to the Carol Shields Prize for sending me this year's shortlist. It's 5 wonderful books, beginning with Daughter by Claudia Day. This is a gut-wrenching story of a dysfunctional family. It centers on a young woman named Mona, whose father is an alluring yet destructive figure in her life. He ruined her childhood with his infidelity. His recent life choices put her at odds with her sisters and stepmother, and he treats her as his confidant, which stirs more resentment and mistrust in the family. Mona recognizes the parasitic nature of her relationship with her father, yet she can't help but delight in receiving his attention. Amid mounting family drama, Mona suffers a massive unexpected loss, and it pushes her to interrogate what kind of family she wants and what she's willing to do to get it. One thing that struck me about this book is how accurately Claudia Day portrays a dysfunctional family, their petty jealousies, the passive-aggressive ways they hurt each other, and how the father stokes rivalry between all of these women. It's so believable and sadly familiar that at times it was uncomfortable for me to read, which is a testament to Day's skill as a writer. The second aspect of this book that wowed me is Day's writing style. The story is largely written like a flowing inner monologue, yet it's sharp and succinct. It also shifts almost imperceptibly between the first and third person perspective of multiple characters. That may sound complicated, but in fact, it makes for a smooth, quick read. I would recommend this book to fans of contemporary family dramas or stories that convey the gravitational pull of a codependent relationship. Also, footnote, it's being adapted for television, so there's more to look forward to. You may have heard me rave about Brotherless Night by Vivi Ganeshanathan in a Women's Prize review video. This book is so good that it's also been shortlisted for the Carol Shields Prize. This is historical fiction set in 1980s Jaffna in Sri Lanka at the start of a civil war that lasted for 26 years. It centers on 16-year-old Sashi. She, her friend Kay, and her 4 beloved brothers are swept up in the growing unrest between the Sinhalese majority and the Tamil minority. In the midst of rising tension and increased demonstrations of violence, Sashi is striving to become a doctor in a male-dominated society. Even though the war halts her studies, she's able to continue learning medicine by working as a field medic for the Tamil Tigers, whom she opens the book by saying, "You know as the terrorists." Sashi recounts these events from her youth as a grown woman, so she brings wisdom and insight to her observations about what was happening around her and what was truly at stake. This is a book that effectively transported me to a time and place that I am unfamiliar with. It's a very conflicting, human story studded with moral quandaries and steeped in history. I listened to the audiobook and I cannot recommend it highly enough. Sashi is so richly drawn and the audiobook is so well read that she became a real person to me, and I had to continually remind myself that I was not listening to a memoir. Do not miss this book. It is a stunning homage to the strength of a mother's love, the bond between siblings, and the enduring impact of war. Moving on to Coleman Hill by Kim Coleman Foote, a book that introduced me to the term biomythography, meaning this is a story that combines real photographs, historical records, the author's own family history, interviews, oral histories, and the author's imagination to create a new history. This is the story of the Coleman family's great migration from the American South to the North, where they settle in New Jersey. The family is keen to leave behind racism and poverty in the post-Civil War South, but in the North, they encounter a host of new bigotries, challenges, and pitfalls. At the heart of this story is a friendship between two women whose relationship is tested by events relating to the Coleman family. And because this is a multi-generational story, over time, we see the branches of their family trees overlap, after which the dynamics of their troubled relationship reverberates across generations. Of all the books on this list, Coleman Hill is the one that impressed me the most overall, specifically in terms of creativity and narrative craft. Some of the characters are written in first person. Others are masterfully crafted in second person. One short chapter takes the perspective of cotton and how it views the enslaved people who picked it. Even though the story is depressing and sad, there's an underlying message of resilience that propels the story forward. Also, I got the impression that Foote had fun with this book, that she pushed herself creatively as a writer and aspired to be playful with her work, and I really enjoy when authors do that. She also successfully avoids a common problem with multi-generational novels where there isn't enough time for characters to develop fully. That was never an issue for me with this book, and I found it helpful that there's a family tree at the front of the book. I highly recommend Coleman Hill, especially if you're a fan of authentic narrative voices or multi-generational dramas about marginalized communities. Number 4 on this list is Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. Unlike her Booker Prize-winning historical fiction, The Luminaries, this is a contemporary psychological thriller. It follows a multitude of characters who are all drawn for various reasons to the Korowai Pass on New Zealand's South Island. Some of the characters are members of a semi-philanthropic, sometimes criminal garden collective called Birnam Wood. Others are local homeowners, and there's a mysterious billionaire in the mix too. When I posted a YouTube short with my April wrap-up, I described this book as a simmer to a boil literary thriller because it's a book that builds slowly but reaches a white-hot conclusion. For several chapters, the characters talk about capitalism or eating the rich, and they discuss who should have access to land and for what purpose. So for a while, I wasn't sure where it was going, but with each new chapter, there were more revelations about vested interests in this land near the Korowai Pass. Over time, the characters' storylines grew increasingly entangled, and the story eventually built to a tense climax and a shocking conclusion. Ultimately, Birnam Wood is a story about survival, with each character taking drastically different approaches to ensuring they'll live to see another day or have a secure future in the event of a major disaster. I think this book is an acquired taste, so I would recommend it if you're in the market for a meticulously crafted, slow-burning thriller. Finally, we get to A History of Burning by Janika Oza, the shortlisted nominee with the most beautiful cover. This book is similar to Coleman Hill in that it's also multi-generational historical fiction, but this book is set in India and begins in the 1890s. The story opens with a 13-year-old boy searching for work to help support his struggling family. He accepts a job that he thinks is local work, but finds himself taken across the ocean to work on the East African Railway for the British. It's just the first of many circumstances where things don't go as planned, and this family is continually forced to migrate and adapt to lives in drastically new places. This book covers a lot of history, but because the story leaps so much through time, it felt like history and the family's response to it at a remove. For example, the family has to flee to a new country, and we see them leaving behind their home, but then we jump ahead 10 years. We miss the opportunity to see the family struggle or grieve as they strive to find their new normal. Even though I enjoyed this book immensely, I wanted to know the characters better. I wish there had been a family tree to follow, and I would have liked to see how the characters' circumstances affected them on a deeper emotional level. Because the characters never fully materialized in my mind, I found myself drawn to all of the gorgeous sensory details Oza wove into her story to contextualize this time and place, like the sweltering heat or the scent of spiced foods, the sticky sweetness of dates, or the feel of coconut meat between your teeth. For me, those are the details that brought this sweeping family saga to life. I enjoyed reading all 5 of these books, but my pick to win is Brotherless Night by Vivi Ganeshanathan. I am rooting for her to take home that epic cash prize. Which of these 5 books would you read first? Or if you've read any of them, what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments with the code word GIFT to acknowledge how the Carol Shields Prize generously gifted me these marvelous books. This is only the 2nd year of the Carol Shields Prize, but I feel like I'm late to the party. Please let me know if I'm not alone in having recently discovered it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Happy reading, and I'll see you in the next one.